Hey, what's up guys? My name is Cartoons and welcome to another video. In this one I'm going to be talking about my 3 different combos for Moonkin damage and kind of giving my tutorial over like how it works, how it kind of synergizes and works with the new resource Astral Power, which I explained in my first impressions video if you haven't seen that quite yet. In that video I talk about the entire class design. But what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be testing our damage on a Holy Priest. And I'm going to be explaining kind of how I am able to generate Astral Power and also spend it efficiently and use my cooldowns effectively to do a solid amount of damage. And I feel like I have been able to narrow down 3 different combos, right, that does all of those things. So like uses cooldowns effectively, does a decent amount of damage, and also is able to manage that resource a little bit better, right? So starting off, we're going to be talking a little bit about new moon. So if it's new moon, half moon, and full moon, and each one generates different amounts of astral power, you have 100 astral power in total. We're going to go over this first combo right now that's going to be incorporating casting new moon, so under the impression that you can cast, right? So we're going to be using Sunfire and then Moonfire, okay? And then we're going to be using our Incarnation, New Moon, and to the half moon into full moon, and we're going to get a bunch of astral power. As you can see, we're going to get to 80 astral power. That's what we want. And then when we get to 80 astral power, we're able to use 2 star surges that take 40 astral power in total. And then we get empowered by something called lunar and solar empowerment, which helps your next lunar strike by 55%. And then we use this talent right here called Warrior of a Loon that allows your next 2 cast of Lunar Strike to be instant with a 45-second cooldown. So that's right here. So that's when I cast my Lunar Strike twice. That is instant cast. And usually with this kind of damage, you're able to take a target from 100% to 0. And that combo, I've noticed it's a pretty effective combo, right? But that does expend your Incarnation, which increases your damage by 40%. So again, guys, I'm going to run through that combo one more time, and this is under the assumption that you have cooldowns available, you are able to cast, you're at like 0 astral power, right? Because astral power is generated by these moons the most effective way. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to put up our Sunfire, we're going to put up our Moonfire, we're going to cast New Moon into half moon, into full moon, and get our astral power to 80 real quick, and then we're going to cast 2 star surges, right? And then Warrior of a Loon into 2 lunar strikes, which usually is able to take down the target, and all of that stuff is usually, it does a pretty good amount of damage, and it's pretty sustainable. I mean, you get a stack of new moon or half moon, you get a stack of the moon casts every 15 seconds, and you're able to build it up over 45 seconds. So I think that it works out pretty well, right? But there's a couple other combos that I wanted to share with you really fast, and those are meant for if you cannot cast. That's what the next combo is going to be about, is if you cannot cast your new moon, half moon, full moon combo into the target, how are you going to be able to do damage on demand? That's obviously not as much damage, but still, a decent amount that you want to be able to get out, right? And that's a pretty quick combo that I've been able to use, but I've been able to take the talent called Astral Communion, which generates 75 astral power immediately, and it's on a 1.33 minute cooldown. So, what I do with that is I pretty much will Sunfire and, first we're going to use Incarnation, obviously. We're going to use Incarnation for 40% increased damage, use Sunfire, Moonfire, Astral Communion, Star Surge twice into Warrior of a Loon, and then hit those 2 lunar strikes. And if you are able to cast, obviously you're going to want to use the other empowerments from your Solar Wrath, and then you can use your Star Surges effectively and get that damage off as well, right? So that's kind of how it works. And again, one more time, without Incarnation, what we're going to do is we're going to get our Sunfire and Moonfire dots up. We're going to go ahead and cast Astral Communion for that instant astral power, 2 star surges into our Warrior of a Loon and 2 instant lunar strikes, and then we'll be casting Solar Wrath when we're available. But obviously those Solar Wraths are cast. This combo is meant for when you are not able to cast anymore, due to maybe 2 melee are on you or whatever. And there is actually a passive on the Moonkin form that says if a single target attack hits you, you have a 50% chance to make your next damaging spell instant cast. So that obviously is going to help with that kind of combo, or getting out your lunar and solar empowerments effectively. But real quick, I want to go over one more combo with you guys, and that's going to be the more AoE spread pressure and dots going into it, but also a little bit of single target damage to kind of, make sure that you're doing the most amount of pressure available. And this is something that you'd probably use more if you're playing like an LSD comp, or maybe, something that's more onto the whole like spread pressure. Maybe you're playing with a Shadow Priest or an Affliction Lock or an Ellie Shaman. All those types of things, really help with damaging a few people as opposed to just doing the most amount of damage possible to one target, like a Frost Mage would. And with this combo, you're going to be under the assumption that you are able to cast. You also have cooldowns. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be using our Incarnation. We're going to be using Astral Communion really quickly so we can get off a really solid Starfall, right? And then we're going to be using Starfall empowers dots real quick. So I just want to tell you guys that Starfall, it empowers all of your dots to do more damage significantly. So what we're going to make sure that we have over everything is our Sunfire and Moonfire buffs. So as you can see, we're going to use Sunfire and Moonfire, Incarnation, Astral Communion, Starfall. Okay, then we're going to cast our New Moon, our Half Moon, and our Full Moon, and our Star Surges available in that regard, right? And we're going to be using all of our damage available. And honestly, like if you were to use that combo in an arena, I've noticed that I've been able to kill people pretty quickly and get like the other secondary targets down low pretty quickly. It's just a matter of like using that Incarnation effectively. And since it's a 3-minute cooldown, which means it's a pretty powerful cooldown. So yeah, I mean it's a pretty solid amount of damage that I've noticed. Real quick, I'm gonna run that with you one more time without Incarnation, just to show you what the rotation is again. And as you can see, I'm going to be using my Sunfire, and I'm going to be using my Moonfire. This is going to be without Incarnation. We're going to be using Astral Communion, and then Starfall to empower those things. Then we're going to be casting New Moon, Half Moon, and then Full Moon, and using both Star Surges available, and then we're going to get those instant Lunar Strikes and kill the target. And that was without Incarnation on one single target, but also using Starfall incorporated with that to make sure that you have the best AoE pressure going. And with that being said, it's important to keep up those Sunfire and Moonfires on all targets, because that Starfall is going to empower those dots for you. So yep, keep it all in mind, guys. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You can check out my World of Warcraft guides available on cartoons.tv, and I hope that you all enjoy the video. So until next time, guys, I will see you in the next one. Cartoons out.